Hello everyone and welcome to episode 22 of my Dark Souls video walkthrough. Today we will firstly be finishing off Logan's quest line, which can be done now that I've finished Seath the Scaleless. And the first step is to buy all his spells, which I already did on this character. And then you want to reload the area, somehow, and return to the location in Duke's Archives where he's selling you his spells.
Who are you? Stay clear of my work. Curses upon you. How dare you disturb me?
Now when I say somehow reload the area, I mean you could warp out and warp back in, you could quit and reload, you could rest at the bonfire, there's various options. And now once I've again reset the area by resting at the bonfire, he will be gone. And I'll show you where he went, because this is relevant to finishing his quest line. So I'm just going to quickly attune Hidden Body, because this makes running through enemies a lot easier. And I'm going to the location where we first fought Seath, where he was unkillable and put us into prison. And this is the quickest way to get there. This is just the same elevator. Of course, Seath won't be here this time because we have now killed him. Instead, there's Logan. He took off all his clothes, except for his hat, and he has ever so slightly gone insane, and wants to kill us. It's not terribly difficult to kill, but there you have it. And he drops his hat, and a spell, and most importantly, the tin crystallization catalyst. And in this room you will also find the large magic ember. There you have it. Now the ember and the soul item I'm about to pick up, they will be here whether you finish the quest line or not. But Logan will only spawn if you finished his quest line by doing what I've just shown you. Now the spell isn't that great, and the hat is nice if you want the looks of it, but the catalyst is actually very powerful. It is one of the strongest catalysts in the game. The downside is that it halves your spell castings. But we're not quite done yet. There's another reward that is quite handy, which is a good catalyst, not as good, but still very good, that doesn't halve your spell castings. So for that you return to his room in the archives once more, and there's now a chest. And this chest contains the rest of his equipment and Logan's catalyst. As I said, this is not as strong as the tin crystallization catalyst, but you get your full spell casts. And it is an upgrade from the original Sorcerer's catalyst that we started out with, which is, well, the first real upgrade you get if you're playing as a proper sorcerer who actually specs plenty of intelligence. Alright, now that's the end of Logan's questline. We'll be heading into the new Londo ruins, which is the area I'm going to show you today. We've already visited the outskirts of this area quite early on, when I showed you where to get one of the Firekeeper souls very early. But now we're going to actually go through the area. We're not going to beat the boss of the area, but we're going to basically complete the rest of it. And that's largely because there's a particular item you can get that is quite nice to have, and yeah, it makes the other areas in the game easier, and because we're now decently strong on all our characters, this is a good time to go to the ruins. So we go down the elevator, and this is also the time where you want to equip the transient curses. I've shown you where to find those in a jar at the beginning of this area quite a while ago. And also note that if you spoke to the crestfallen warrior at Firelink Shrine and exhausted his dialogue, then he will now be here and be hollowed and attack you. He doesn't drop anything, this is just the end of his quest line. It's not very spectacular, but this jar that I just crushed, that contained 2 transient curses. And transient curses are the most convenient way to be able to fight the ghosts that inhabit this area. Now you could also get just normal cursed, but of course that comes at the penalty of having half HP, which is not exactly fun. And there's a small selection of weapons that are able to deal damage to these ghosts even when you are not cursed. But the easiest is to just pop a transient curse. These will then enable you to fight the ghosts for a decent amount of time, and the ghosts also drop more of them. So there's 2 before you even enter the area, there's 2 more on this corpse just as you enter the area, and there's a few more that you will get from fixed locations or from drops. So you should never really run out. The female undead merchant also sells some if you really need them, but as I said, not generally necessary. That's also the reason I've equipped the gold serpent ring on all my characters, because it means I much more reliably get the transient curses. Okay, as we enter this room, there's an ambush situation to our left. And we'll get to this elevator, it links up to a later part, but I never actually used this elevator, so I'm just going to point out where it links to when we get there. And this room, as you enter it, it looks like there's only one ghost, but then a bunch more of them pop up. It can be worthwhile to run out and try to tackle them more slowly. Here we have another ambush. There's a ghost hiding in the wall, guarding the parrying dagger, which is not that great, but if you want to use it as an offhand for parrying, it has a large window for parrying. Now the ghosts, of course, because they are ghosts, they go through walls, ceilings, floors. They are unobstructed by any collision, basically. And here's another 2 transient curses as a fixed drop. Even if you didn't get any, this would now put you at 6, which should be enough to get through the area. Once we're through this fog gate, we can kick this ladder down. This is a different shortcut that, again, isn't really used, but basically from that first staircase I took in the area, you can jump down to the lower section that I'm in right now, and then climb up the ladder, and you can skip that one ghost room, essentially. And these 2 ghosts down here, they will otherwise come up later and go through the floor and attack you, and it's more convenient to kill them by going down the ladder. Okay, and here to the right there's a soul item. Again, as you approach it, the ghost above will come down. Now, depending on the hitbox of your weapon, it can be a little annoying to deal with these ghosts if you don't have any large overhead swings, basically. So, yeah, it might be a bit of a hassle to fight them when they're coming from above. Okay, in this place right here, I always quit out and reload. This removes my transient curse, but this means I can apply a new one and I get the full duration, because we're about to enter a place that is a bit tedious and it would be annoying to have the curse run out in the middle of it. So you enter this building just very quickly and then you run out again. And this will aggro 2 ghosts from inside that will now come through the wall towards you. And out here you can use either ranged means or a melee weapon to kill them. And this just means you have 2 less ghosts inside the house, and that is definitely something you want. Because if you just run in there, you will be surrounded by 6, 7 ghosts, and it can be very, very difficult to deal with. Now, as I approach the entrance, but don't actually enter it, there are 3 ghosts floating down from the water below. Floating up, rather. So I would suggest you try to kill them without going into the house, or at least without going far into it. With a melee weapon, again, this can be a little more tricky. But generally kill these 3 out here. So again, you want to separate the enemies and not have to deal with them all at the same time. And now in here, again, stay in this room. There will be 2 ghosts, one coming from right there and one coming down from above. And killing them here without heading further into the area means, once again, smaller groups of enemies. Okay, in the center of this room, there's a female ghost. These have lightning damage and are a little more tricky. So if you have ranged options, use those. If you don't, run in and quickly kill them before the other ghosts are finished emerging from the ground. And then if you've done as I did, there will be 2 more ghosts coming from the ground. And after you've killed them, you want to head up this ladder, but just a little bit, and then slide back down. And then 2 more ghosts will come at you. 1 from above and 1 from below. Alright, and now we can actually climb up the ladder properly, and we're about to meet a very useful NPC who will enable us to actually enter the rest of the area.
Well, this is a surprise. I get few visitors, save for ghosts. You have the Lord Vessel. Very impressive. I know exactly what your intentions are. You seek the 4 kings whom I guard over. This is the key to the seal. The 4 kings slumber in the deepest chamber of the ruins. Use this key to break the seal and open the floodgates. Oh, and do not forget, the dark wraiths reside in a dark void called the Abyss. But the Abyss is no place for ordinary mortals. Although, long ago, the knight Artorius traversed the Abyss. If you can find him and learn from him, the Abyss may prove surmountable. Hello there. What is it? The key to the seal is now in your hands. I will help you in any way possible. New Londo was sacrificed to contain the Dark Wraiths. Mark my words, the Dark Wraiths are the enemies of man and any living thing that has a soul. They were never meant to roam again.
And that's all he has to say. If you don't have the Lord Vessel yet, because you can come here quite early, he won't give you the key to the seal. You can kill him and he will drop it, but if you want him to give you the key, then you need to have the Lord Vessel. You don't have to have placed it, but you need to have found it. And after this, there's only a few more ghosts to deal with. There's one hiding in the wall right here. Not an issue. And then if you try to pick up this item, there's one coming down from above who will usually hit you. Now sometimes they come down quite quickly, sometimes they spend a lot of time up in the air, not actually hitting you with anything. It's more RNG than anything else, you can't really affect this. And the item's just a soul, but yeah, might as well grab it. Okay, and then possibly more interesting, going along this corridor to the very end. Can go outside to this balcony. There is another ghost popping up, and the Curse Bite ring, which improves your curse resistance noticeably. And so if you know you're going into an area where there you will be cursed, it is a nice item to have, and if you're particularly worried about curse, you might want to get this item early. And out here on this corpse, we have a green titanite shard. Now at this point all the ghosts are dead, so you don't need to worry anymore. But if you skipped some of the enemies, or you died and so you used a shortcut and didn't kill all the ghosts that I've killed, they might still be coming at you from various directions. So just keep an eye out and stay alert unless you're certain you've killed them all. Because obviously they don't have to follow a path to you, they can just go in a straight line. And then can jump onto the roof of this building, and right there on the edge is a rare ring of sacrifice, and you can just jump down in various places. I like jumping down here back onto the path that I've come in, but you can also go through the windows in the ceiling and jump back into the rooms down below. That is also perfectly fine. And now we enter this tower, and firstly we're going up the stairs. It's quite a useful item to be had here. if you're planning to use a bow, this composite bow is probably the most damage you can get out of a normal bow. It doesn't have good range, but it has good damage at that range because it has C scaling in both strength and dexterity, so you can just get a lot of damage out of it. And we use the key to the seal to open this door, and then turn this, well, giant handle, I guess. And this unfloods the city, meaning we now get access to the lower parts of the ruins of New Londo. And this gate also doubles as a shortcut into the Valley of the Drakes, so we have seen this gate already from the other side. And we can now use this elevator here to basically take us down to the lower section. There's also various places you might be able to jump down, but the elevator is definitely the way I would recommend. And now there's a new type of enemy in this area. They are called the Dark Wraiths. And they are a little bit hard to see because the area is quite, well, dark. And if you've used the gold serpent ring so far, you should probably keep it on, because these guys can drop titanite chunks and very rarely titanite slabs. And they are the only enemies who drop either of these items. So if you want to farm either of them, then you're going to need to kill Dark Wraiths. So, since you're here, might as well keep the gold serpent ring on. Through this fog gate, don't head far into the room. Head in just a little bit and you will have aggroed an enemy. Now it takes a while for him to get to you, and again it can be very dark and difficult to see, but he will be there. And since they can definitely do a lot of damage, I'm being quite careful at fishing for backstabs here. Their melee combos can do a lot of damage. And to the right there's a big ugly slime monster, which we'll see in a moment, but here we have another Dark Wraith turning his back towards us. So, might as well kill him by approaching slowly, he doesn't actually notice you. And then here is the big ugly slime monster that I mentioned. They do not respawn, but they are a little annoying to kill. They have a lot of health and some nasty attacks. They can spit goo at you, which decreases your healing and does damage over time. And they have this long spear thing that they can spit out. But they are not very mobile, so might take a while. They shouldn't give you too much trouble. They also have the ability to spit out these exploding heads, but their explosion is so delayed that that should really not cause you much trouble. And then there's one more Dark Wraith, just to the right here. If they do this sort of lunging, stabbing attack as an opener, it's very easy to parry. Other attacks, a little less so. Okay. And this is the other end of that elevator I showed you earlier. I don't ever use this shortcut. I don't think it's that handy, but if you do, that's the other end of it. And here we have a soul item. Not guarded by a ghost. The ghosts are now all dead. But there's actually a much more important item, and the reason I came to this area now, if we follow this path. Now we're just heading up these stairs. And right there in that chest is the very large ember. And this allows you to upgrade your weapons from +10 to +15. And this isn't relevant for all my characters. Some of them are using enchanted weapons or divine weapons or other types of weapons. But everyone who's using any kind of standard weapon can now upgrade those to the maximum. And this area is also where you get the chunks that you need for that. Everyone has already got at least one slab from the stray demon. So all the characters that I'm using that use some kind of standard weapon that has previously been limited to +10 is now able to be upgraded to +15. And that's why I did this now. I am now strong enough to handle these enemies, and getting my weapons to +15 is quite a nice boost, especially for those characters that are on the weaker end of the scale. And behind this illusory wall, there's another Dark Wraith guarding a chest with a Titanite chunk. And this corpse on this well here has 6 cracked red eye orbs. If you're playing online, this is a place to get them, but of course, if you want more of them, you're going to have to do different things, like joining the Dark Wraiths. Incidentally, even if you're a member of the Dark Wraith Covenant, these guys will not become friendly to you. They will still be hostile. Here we have another soul item, and then by going around this door into the side, there's a pretty empty area that has yet another soul item. Now there's a second slime monster in this room, but you should just enter very quickly and run out of it again, because there's also a Dark Wraith. Now be advised, if you didn't kill all the ghosts, then this is one of the places where they are able to come back down. And so, if you didn't kill them all, you should be quite careful in this room. Because if you expect them to all be dead, you might not have a transient curse active anymore. And that would obviously not be that fun. And this guy tends to get stuck in this doorway, and you can exploit that, but he can still hit you with some of his attacks, so it's not a safe spot, it's just... it allows you to retreat easily. And we have one more Dark Wraith right here. And in the corner of this room there is a chest. Now that Dark Hand item that the Dark Wraiths drop is pretty useless, but it has some purpose which I will get to in a different video. And hiding in this corner is the final Dark Wraith. And that's all I intend to do in this area. I can't even face the boss yet. Doesn't matter how good I am. I need a specific item, as I've said in an earlier episode. One of my characters has already done it. The others don't have that ring that they need. So I am unable to fight them. But I don't really want to anyway. I just wanted the large ember, or the very large ember rather, and the ability to farm chunks. Because I can now upgrade my characters, well, as much as I like. And the very large ember goes to Andre. No other blacksmith has any use for it.
Well, I'll be. That's a brilliant ember you've got there. For all my years in the trade, that might be the finest. How's about you leave that ember with me? I'm just an old smith. I'd give my left arm for a gem like that. Well, thank you mightily for that. Now, just leave the rest to me. Andre of Astora gets the job done, you shall see.
And now we can modify weapons that are +10 and turn them into +15, +11 rather. And then going from +11 to +15 is again done using the normal upgrade or forge weapons dialogue. And well, that's an Uchigatana +15. Okay,
Neither
so
of us want to see you go hollow.
That's all there is to the new Londo runes. The boss will be seen in a later point. I hope you found this helpful. As always, leave feedback if you have any. Have a good day, and bye bye.